feels good, doesn't it? Part one. Demi Moore and Ashton Kutcher. So Demi, oh, sorry, my bad. So Demi Moore, I love. This is going to be a bias-ass series because I love Demi Moore. I do. And I don't like Ashton Kutcher. I don't. So if you're like, I love Ashton Kutcher, you're not going to like this one. And you're not going to like me. And to that I say, I hope you shit your pants. So I did a series on Demi Moore. The millennial pause on that was fucking crazy. I did a series on Demi Moore about a month ago. And I said, oh, tomorrow I'm going to do a series on Ashton Kutcher. And today is tomorrow. Look at us. So we've talked about Demi Moore. Demi Moore is Scorpio Sun, Taurus Moon, November 11th, 1962. Ashton Kutcher is an Aquarius Sun, Aquarius Moon. Hi. Oh my goodness. Hi. I don't like that. Ooh, spooky. So Ashton Kutcher, I viscerally hate this photo. So 3 years after Demi Moore and Bruce Willis divorce, I love you, Bruce Willis, she meets Ashton Kutcher at a dinner party. When they met at a house of a mutual friends, Ashton Kutcher was like, I did not think that was Demi Moore. I thought that was a woman that looked just like Demi Moore. I could not believe that was Demi Moore. And you know what? I would say the same. I would not believe that I am in the same room as Demi Moore and be like, that lady looks just like my baby, Demi Moore. Ashton Kutcher admits in 2003, when he meets Demi Moore, that he was in no place in his life to be in a relationship. He was very much in his party boy phase. He says, I had no desire to be in a relationship whatsoever. I'd sworn myself off of relationships before I met Demi. Demi, me baby. I think it's Demi Moore because I'm from Miami. Y así lo digo. At the time we met, I was in New York partying and I was hosting the comedy show, Saturday Night Live. And I was saying to myself, I'm going to party. I'm going to sleep with this girl and that girl and this girl and that girl. And I'm sure you did. I'm sure you did. Raise your hands if you're jealous. That's what I thought. At this point, Demi had 3 daughters, okay? Rumor, Scout, and Tallulah with Bruce Willis. Their ages are 15, 12, and 9. May 2003. Puff Daddy, P. Diddy, Sean Diddy Combs, what is it? Sean Diddy Kingston, Brotherly Hugs, Love, whatever, all his fucking names. That motherfucker. And the beautiful, stunning, greatly missed Kim Porter are seen on a double date in Miami with Demi Moore and Ashton Kutcher. And a witness says that they see Ashton Kutcher and Demi Moore share a very romantic kiss outside of a restaurant in Miami. In June 2003, they go public with their relationship on the red carpet for Charlie's Angels Full Throttle. And I think about her in that surfboard all the motherfucking time. And things seem to move very quickly. By October of 2003, Entertainment Weekly ran a story saying, Kutcher says he serves as a dad to Moore's kids. Kutcher, 25, says he's happy to schlep Moore's daughters by Bruce Willis, Rumor 15, Scout 12, and Tallulah Bell 9 to school and to soccer practice and even to attend their parent-teacher conferences. Being a part of molding anyone's life is an incredible thing. It's an unbelievable addition to my life, the Punked host says. I love Punked. I did. Seeing Justin Timberlake scared was everything to me. I feel like they've been shafted in the deal. I get 4 of them and all they get is me. They got the short end of the stick. It's very sweet to say. So here's a picture of Rumor, Scout, Tallulah Bell, Demi, and Ashton Kutcher. It does feel like Demi was trying to heal some old relationship wounds. Ow, I stubbed my toe. Through her relationship with Ashton Kutcher. And I think everyone's guilty of this, right? When you fall in love and it doesn't work out, nobody gets married thinking they're gonna get divorced, right? That's like a saying. Her and Bruce break up and I feel like you find this love again and you feel like you have a do-over. She writes this in her book. Keep in mind, when I was 25, I became a mom. I skipped straight from being a young adult into motherhood and marriage. When I met Ashton, it almost felt like a do-over. Like I could just go back in time and experience what it was like to be young with him, much more so than I'd ever be able to experience it when I was actually in my 20s. If you know anything about her life, her 20s were very tumultuous. You know, she suffers a lot from abandonment issues, intimacy issues. You know, probably as a mother of 3, she had probably softened by then, and she was falling in love with a younger man, right? Like when I watch movies and people are with like younger men, they feel like they're like revitalized. Teenage dream, Katy Perry, the reason I got bangs in 2010, the reason I cried on myself to sleep every night in 2010. In 2005, SNL has Ashton Kutcher back on, and they poke fun at their 15-year age difference. I do remember tabloids saying Ashton Kutcher and his grandmother girlfriend. She's like 45. 45. I will say this. When I see an age difference relationship, I am skeptical when a man is with like a 20-year-old girl, when a man in like his 40s. He's 25. I don't think there's a power imbalance here at all. She's 25. What's 25 plus 15? Am I wrong? 25 plus 15, that'd be 35. She's 40. She's 40. She's not even 45. I'm so sorry to me. That's on me. I've always been more bohemian with my mathematics. I have no problem with age difference relationships, as long as it's appropriate. And I do believe in a double standard. What do you want from me? I'm not perfect. You want Barney? Go watch Barney. Sam Taylor Johnson. On September 24th, 2005, Demi and Ashton marry in front of 100 guests at their home in Beverly Hills. She was 42, he's 27. A friend of Moore's says this to People magazine. It was a beautiful wedding. It was incredibly unpretentious, representing who they really are. There was just so much love in the room. In her memoir, she says, I had never been so happy than when I was with Ashton. And after their wedding, she starts going through IVF, in vitro fertilization. She starts going through IVF. They start looking into adoption. They want a family together. They want kids of their own. Just a quick trigger warning for any moms out there that have suffered miscarriage. I'm going to be talking about pregnancy loss. And also, I love you and my heart is with you. And I'm so sorry you went through that. And I know everything's going to be okay. So in 2019, Demi Moore does an interview with Diane Sawyer, the woman meanest to Britney Spears that I'll never forgive. And she talks about her miscarriage. And she says, I can't really even bring fully to words how lost, empty, desperate, and confused I really lost sight of everything that was right in front of me, which was the family that I had. Like, she was so obsessed with having a baby with her new young husband that I feel maybe she didn't prioritize the children that were right in front of her. In her memoir, she writes, it was my fault and I felt that for sure. If only I hadn't opened the door to drinking, I never would have lost the baby. So she was sober for a long time. And when she met Ashton, she started partying more. Like, they were like a party couple. Even worse, I was still smoking when I found out I was pregnant, and it took me a few weeks to quit completely. I was racked with guilt and convinced what had happened was my doing. And I'm going to say this about Demi Moore. I was in shock and awe in the best way of her transparency and brutal honesty about where she was in different phases of her life. And it is so easy to say, I was taking all my vitamins, I don't understand what's happening. And she has really learned how to be accountable in a way that I feel is almost helpful. Like, she's so human. And I really appreciate that, because I feel like there are so many people out there having children that are struggling with addiction, you know, and almost selfishly so, where they racked with this guilt of like, why am I not taking care of this life inside me that I want so bad? And I haven't had that experience, but I know for sure there are people that read that book and felt seen, you know, and it must have been so scary to put out there. In a recent interview with Esquire magazine, Ashton Kutcher did talk a little bit about entering parenthood as a stepfather. He said, I was 26, bearing the responsibility of an 8-year-old, 10-year-old, and a 12-year-old. I'll tell you in a second. Okay, part 2, Ashton Kutcher, Demi Moore. So he does this interview with Esquire Mag where he talks about entering parenthood as a stepfather to Demi Moore's 3 daughters that she shares with Bruce Willis. Okay. Where was I? I was 26, bearing the responsibility of an 8-year-old, 10-year-old, and a 12-year-old. That's how some teen parents must experience their 20s. So before his relationship with Demi Moore, Ashton Kutcher was known for being a bachelor, you know? He was always in the tabloids partying. So naturally, when the public saw that he was with, you know, Demi Moore and her 3 daughters, they were like, this is going to be a disaster. How's he going to adjust? But Demi Moore says this: I definitely can't answer for him, but I think it certainly wasn't a difficult transition. Ashton's relationship with his mother is really wonderful, so it made the transition to being with a woman with daughters something he didn't bat an eye at. It also says a lot about the confidence he holds within himself as an individual. So he really stepped up to the plate, and Demi Moore has said he did a great job. I think a lot of people, you know, thought he wouldn't adjust well to a house full of women, and he did. And Ashton has, in the past, noted on how close they were. Probably the first time he was like really intimate with a woman, says that they just talked about everything and it felt amazing. But in November 2019, one of Demi's daughters reflected on this marriage and said around this time, all she really remembered was that her mom really wanted a baby with this man. Quote, she wanted to have another baby, and then it wasn't happening, and there was so much focus on that. And it was like, oh, well, we're not enough. And Demi Moore talks to Access Hollywood, and a lot of people were very curious about what their co-parenting life was like. And I feel like if you've been following Bruce Willis and Demi Moore for a long time, you know that they are wonderful friends. And if you watch the series that I did, it feels like I'm plugging it. I'm not. Well, maybe a little bit, you know, but they went through so much together, and to have the friendship that they have took a lot of work. And sometimes as a child of divorce, I would look at parents and that were divorced from like schoolmates, like classmates, and see how parents were such close friends. I had one friend, I remember in 9th grade, we went to her mom's house, and her mom and her dad had divorced when she was like in 3rd grade. And we got to the house, and the dad was on the couch taking a nap. And he woke up, he's like, hey guys. And the mom was like, what do you want to drink? And I was like, this is so amazing. And I don't think I understood the kind of work that needs to be done to get to that point. And because I had done so much work together as a couple, Demi Moore and Bruce Willis, to continue this friendship, when Ashton Kutcher entered the scene, Bruce and Ashton made a real effort to work as a team as well, you know? So Demi Moore says, Bruce and Ashton have a mutual respect for one another, and we really approach it as a team. We're a team, and we want the best for our children. And hats off to you. I would not be able to share a scrunchie with an ex. I'd be like this. Tallulah, pictured here, often has remarked that she didn't understand the level of her parents' fame. Remember also, they lived in Idaho for a long time. But she didn't understand the extent of their parents' fame until Demi was with Ashton. It was a moment, a lot going on. I really went inside of myself, and that did send me into like a total dumpster fire. It was really hard, and I'm still unpacking. Everyone left the house, and it was just me living there. I know that she does love me 100%, but in that moment you're hurt, and you can't fathom that someone loves you and would do that to you, and would choose others more than you. There was a media frenzy going on about them, and I don't think that Demi was focused on her children. I think, and she writes about that in her book, she lost sight of being a mother to the children that she had, and they grew to resent her. And I don't think resentment is done on purpose. I think it's a seed that you unexpectedly water because you're trying your best to see the best in someone when they're not treating you the best, right? So I think when she was partying all the time, acting like a child, acting Ashton's age, and like a mom just trying to have more children with her now husband and neglecting the children that she does have, I think there was a resentment there, and it really put a huge strain on her children, and they felt ignored. And they were not protected from this media frenzy, you know? It's almost like Demi leaned in because in order to be with Ashton, this had to be their life. She had to be this woman. this party woman, this tabloid girl. And she was never a tabloid girl. She's always, when I think of Demi Moore, I think of movie star. But during this time, she was in those tabloids with people like Paris Hilton and Lindsay Lohan, Nicole Richie. She was. While they were together, the media was obsessed with asking Ashton Kutcher anytime they got, wait, are you really? You like your wife? You're attracted to her? You like it? Because they just could not fathom that this older woman would satisfy this young heartthrob in Hollywood when in everyone's eyes, he could be with anybody. He could be with anybody, you know? So, they really did act like she's 80, you know? When Demi Moore does interviews about how men are allowed to age in Hollywood, but women are not, I know that a part of that wound is from this era of her life. In 2009, Ashton Kutcher refers to his wife as magic. Kutcher's enchanted by his wife, saying in 2009, she becomes more and more beautiful to me by the minute, and I don't know what it is. She's got this magic thing. But there seemed to be trouble in paradise. The cheating rumors were everywhere. And Ashton Kutcher was known to have a wandering eye, okay? I will give a 28-year-old millionaire sex symbol, sex icon, Tefi, please, get a grip. You're right. Ugh. But he was on the cover of everything. His career was skyrocketing. I do love The Butterfly Effect. It's a good movie, but it freaks me the fuck out. I can only watch it like once every 5 years. I love all women, he says in an interview. Demi knows that, and she doesn't mind as long as I look and don't touch. I'm doing as I'm told these days. Are you? If I was Demi's best friend and I saw this interview, I'd say, Demi, he's fucking bitches, no condom. Sorry. But all these tabloids are reporting that Ashton Kutcher is going out clubbing without his wife with a huge group of girls every night. The Daily Mail writes, he habitually hits a town in a big group, invariably taking along a bodyguard. They were overheard debating if any of the passing women were hot tub worthy. Ugh! And this party girl, I love a party girl, a responsible party girl, says, her name is Sarah Lee, she's 22, and she gives an interview where she says she had unprotected sex, coitus, with Ashton in a hot tub twice, only after he'd kind of like badgered her about having a ménage à trois. You like that? French. What can't you do with one of her friends? Interestingly enough, Scott Eastwood, the actor, in 2015 went on Watch What Happens Live and confirmed, essentially. In 2015, after John Cryer went on Watch What Happens Live, he was asked about working with Kutcher and 2.5 Men after both had dated Demi Moore. And Eastwood, Clint Eastwood's son, Scott Eastwood, offered his own connection to Ashton and Demi, saying his girlfriend had cheated on him with Ashton Kutcher, and that was kind of the catalyst and final straw for Demi and the reason that they ultimately broke up. Then 2 other women come forward after Sarah Lee is like, yeah, we fucked in the hot tub 2 times. No condom. Crazy to me. Crazy. Oh, and also, he would always be with a bodyguard. Does anybody remember this? That then the girl said, when we would go to this hot tub, apparently he loves hot tubs, whatever. I always think about the guy that lost his leg in Orange is the New Black, whatever. I'm also a girl from Florida, and everybody would tell you never put your head under the water because the vents can take your hair and you can die and drown. I don't know. That's what I think about. But the bodyguard would make all the girls sign NDAs and would take their phones when they were going to cheat with Ashton. But another girl said, oh, I fucked him in a hot tub too. And then another girl said, oh, I also fucked him in his Beverly Hills home with Demi Moore on the sofa. What's that TikTok noise? Burn it. I said burn it. Okay, part 3, Demi Moore and Ashton Kutcher. Okay, so we were talking about how Ashton Kutcher was cheating up a fucking storm, and that 3 girls essentially had come out and been like, oh yeah, I did that. I did him. And one girl was like, we went bowling, and then I went to his house in Beverly Hills that he should never tell me more, and I fucked him on the couch. Demi, I would have posted your bail. I'm just saying. I said it once, I said it again. I'm not scared of jail. Because why? Lifelong friendships. And you and I both know I'll be somebody's baby girl within the hour. Like, Demi Moore writes about the cheating in her book and says this: I put him first, so when he expressed his fantasy of bringing a third person into our bed, I didn't say no. I wanted to show him how great and fun I could be. And I hear that all the time from my girlfriends. Like, you just want to be sexy. You want to be that fantasy. There's so much pressure. I can only imagine also as an older woman dating a younger man, how much you want to be, not only when you're the same age or whatever, you're already feeling like you have to be all these things, but also the pressure of being young and carefree and, you know, losing yourself in this like, no, I didn't shave my armpits, leave me alone. There were 2 different people we opened our relationship up to, and they didn't have bad intentions. They were good people, but it was a mistake. And because we had brought in a third party into our relationship, Ashton blurred the lines and to some extent justified what he'd done. And when he cheated a second time, Kutcher admitted it right away. And in her book, she also explains like how much of herself she sacrificed to make this work. I'm sure in hindsight, you know, she thinks if you have to do that in a relationship, if you have to sacrifice so much, including your sobriety, perhaps this is not your person. But I think we can all relate to wanting something to work so fucking bad, especially if it's everywhere and people are already like placing bets or telling Ashton via headlines, she's not sexy, she's an old maid, she's a grandmother, how badly you want to be enough. But about her sobriety, she writes this: Ashton was enjoying a glass of good red wine and said, I don't know if alcoholism is a real thing. I think it's all about moderation. He's in his please. I wanted to be that girl that could have a glass of wine at dinner or do a tequila shot at a party. And in my mind, Ashton wanted that too. She goes on to describe how she went into contortions to find the right mold of a woman he wanted his wife to be, adding that she put him first before herself, no matter what. By their 5th wedding anniversary, the tabloids were going crazy with quotes from girls. And at that point, you don't even know if it's true, but since it's happened already, like confirmed for her, when I get mad, the Miami comes out, because it already happened 2 times for her, she was like, this is real. It was affecting her deeply, obviously. She's partying more, trying to prove herself more, trying to be perfect more. And they made a big show of their 5th wedding anniversary. But by the 6th anniversary, they separated for the day. Like, not they separated, but they celebrated separately. Yes. So for their 6th wedding anniversary, she goes to New York to promote her short film. And he's like, I'm going to go to San Diego with my friend Danny. All around great guy. Watch the Bijou Phillips series. It is also one of my favorites. Anyway, it's his bachelor party, and Ashton Kutcher cheats on Demi, and she blames herself. And did Ashton Kutcher tell her, honey, I cheated on you? No, she finds out via Google alert while she's in New York promoting this film. Actually, one day before their 6th anniversary, before that day, Demi Moore goes on Twitter, RIP, and quoted the Greek philosopher, when we are offended at any man's fault, turn to yourself and study your own failings. To me, baby. No. Then you will forget your anger. That's empathy on crack, bitch. Like, it's also, I feel, she maybe felt like, man, this man has overlooked so much of my own failings. My failed marriage, you know, my failed pregnancy, my failure of being young, because life, you know. In 2011, they say, we need to save our marriage. You can't stop cheating on me. Let's go to my ex-husband's, he has a house in Turks and Caicos, I think. Let's go there as a vacation to try to fix this. And Demi makes him swear that he will not cheat again, which breaks my fucking heart, you know? Because you're looking at this gorgeous, beautiful woman who has everything going for her, and she has no idea. And how many of us have been there or had friends and people that we love that were like, if you saw yourself the way that I see you, you would hit him with a Durango F-150. If you've been watching this for a while, you know every time there's a source in news, I think it's Kris Jenner. She's sick of feeling that she can't trust Ashton, says Kris Jenner to the Daily Mail. While another claimed, this has been a long time coming, hearing for years, and it has been soul destroying for her. Kris Jenner adds, they have been separate for some time, and Ashton lately has been acting as if he wants to be caught. He's been hoping to provoke the end of the marriage, but she has been hanging on. And I'd rather shit out a Christmas ornament than be the woman that hangs on. Oh my God. November 17th, 2011, Demi and Ashton announced their split. So breakup statements are usually done together, but Demi Moore put out a solo statement, which I think is chic. It is with great sadness and a heavy heart that I have decided to end my 6-year marriage to Ashton. As a woman, a mother, and a wife, there are certain values and vows that I hold sacred, and it is in this spirit that I have chosen to move forward with my life. She said, he's a dog. He's a fucking dog. I will forever cherish the time I spent with Demi, Ashton Kutcher says. Marriage is one of the most difficult things in the world, and unfortunately sometimes they fail. Meaning, I was dog. I really fucked this one up. In April of 2012, Mila Kunis and Ashton Kutcher start dating. Demi and Ashton had not finalized their divorce yet when they began being seen together. And they seemed to get serious very quickly, which left Demi very jealous and frustrated. Who would? Those are very kind words. You want to see something fucking crazy? Come on, Demi. Look at this. Okay. December 16th, 2012, Ashton Kutcher files for divorce from Demi Moore. The actress responded 3 months later, seeking spousal support and attorney fees from Kutcher, who had earned a reported $24 million in the previous year for his role in 2.5 Men. As the highest paid actor on US TV in 2011, Ashton's personal fortune was estimated at why would you burp? It's so nasty. At $135 million, while Demi's was thought to be around $150 million thanks to her hit films in the 1980s and 90s. Kris Jenner told the New York Post, Ashton made a lot of money after marrying Demi, a lot more than she made, but despite him becoming just as famous through her, he believes he does not owe her that much. You owe her a leg and an arm. Whatever. During their 8-year relationship, Moore dramatically reduced the number of roles she took on, while Ashton's career went from strength to strength, with him bagging the lead role in Butterfly Effect and hosting MTV's prank show Punk'd, where Justin Timberlake looked like a fucking idiot. Why would they write that? At the height of her early fame, Demi was regularly booking blockbuster films, including Ghost, Indecent Proposal, and Striptease, and G.I. Jane. That I love. We got close. How are you? Around this time, the star even reportedly earned herself the nickname Gimme More, which I personally love, Britney Jean Spears, in Hollywood as a result of the number of films she was churning out. The New York Times reported in 2010. But after meeting Ashton, the star took a small career break from mid-2003 to 2006 to fulfill all of his little fantasies. In her attempts to re-enter the film scene, she got skewered by critics. However, the film Half-Light, where Demi played a grieving novelist who relocated to Scotland in the wake of her son's death, was branded yet another clunker and subsequently released straight to DVD in the US. In this damning review, The Guardian's Peter Bradshaw said, Part 4, Demi Moore and Ashton Kutcher, Part 4, Part 5? Who knows at this point? But what I was saying is, when Demi Moore tried to re-enter films, critics were very harsh. And I was reading one review by Peter Bradshaw at The Guardian about her movie Half-Light, where she plays a grieving novelist. She's grieving her son and she moves to Scotland, but it went straight to DVD. And Peter Bradshaw said, the actress may wish to forget about the whole business, meaning retire, bitch. And to that I say, loser. Speaking to the New York Times in 2010, Demi discussed how challenging it was to land creatively satisfying roles. She explains, there are limited opportunities just because not as many films are being made. And so you combine that with the fact that women have always spoken out about the struggle for good quality roles. And then you add into it that we are very youth-friendly driven society. And that brings other challenges, meaning not a lot of movies are being made, and I'm getting older in this industry that's obsessed with being young, you know? And I feel in a certain way that I didn't really fit in a box they could navigate. And the breakup was hitting Demi Moore hard. So hard, she started abusing substances like Vicodin and alcohol and mixing said substances, so much to the point where her ex-husband, Bruce Willis, and her 3 daughters go no contact. If you've watched, I'm going to say it, don't roll your eyes at me. If you watched last series, you know, she had a party where she overdid it. She was hospitalized. That was a big wake-up call for her. After going to rehab and committing herself to betterment, she has healed a lot of trauma from her childhood that she describes as colorful. It was a violent, neglectful childhood. And in 2020, Ashton Kutcher did an interview where he said he's never going to stop loving Demi Moore. Stay away from her, get a job. And he still checks in with the daughters and makes a conscious effort to check in and be a part of their lives. Stay away from them, get a job. I was helping raise teenage girls through their adolescence. I love them. I'm never going to stop loving them and respecting them and honoring them and rooting for them to be successful in whatever they are pursuing. I am not their father. I was never going to be their father. I'd always had respect and honored Bruce. I think he's a brilliant human being. Guys, what's happening with Bruce Willis? It breaks my heart into a million pieces. A million pieces. I can barely look at those photos. I live in denial about it, actually. Like, there's something about watching people you grew up watching on TV deteriorate. It greatly affects me because even in the photos, he's suffering through a kind of dementia, early onset dementia. That's like the paraphrased version of it. But you can see how bad, like he still has his light, but there's no one. It's not that there's no one there, but he's just changed, you know. He's been affected by what he has. And it's also so wonderful to see how Demi and the daughters just adore him and his wife. He's been with his new wife now after Demi for so long, and how they all come together. And he just had his 70th birthday party. And I was watching, I looked at those photos and I just wept because he truly is wealthy in love and family. There's a picture of him with Rumor Willis where someone is doing something to his back, maybe getting an injection, I don't know. And the way that his daughter and him look at each other, I'm like, at the end of the day, you can have $400 billion houses, all the money in the world. You can have every car, every golden toilet available on the market. But real wealth is having a daughter look at you like that. You know, where was I? So Ashton Kutcher says that Bruce Willis is a brilliant human being and a wonderful man. If they don't want an engagement with me, I'm not going to force it upon them, but they all do. And that's really great. They are better people than I. Sometimes pop culture reminds me, 1, that society can be disgusting. And 2, that there are people in the world way more mature than I. Way more mature than I. I've said it once and I'll say it again. I can hold a grudge like a hand. In 2022, Mila Kunis and Demi Moore did a Super Bowl ad together. So they actually attended the same high school, obviously not at the same time. Demi Moore is older than Mila Kunis. So in the ad, they're like vying for the same prize. It's funny. It's witty. It's cheeky. But since 2023, Ashton Kutcher has found himself in some incredibly hot water. Ashton has been embroiled in a series of scandals, including his friendships with disgraced rapper P. Diddy, who has been charged with trafficking, and actor Danny Masterson, who was jailed in 2023 for 30 years for SAing two women. In 2023, Ashton and Mila wrote a character reference for that 70s show co-star, asking the judge for leniency when it came to Danny. In their letters, both Ashton and Mila spoke highly of Masterson, claiming he always treated people with decency, equality, and generosity. Ashton wrote, "I hope that my statement to his character is taken into consideration in sentencing. He's an extraordinarily honest and intentional human being. I will never understand that." Listen, if that was his brother, if that was his father, I would be like, man, I still wouldn't do it. I still wouldn't fucking do it. Over our 25-year relationship, I don't ever recall him lying to me. He's taught me about being direct and confronting issues in life and relationships head on, resolving them and moving forward. He's a liar. They don't give men 30 fucking years for SA. That was bad. That's not a good guy. Read the stats. What is it? 30 days? Like, please. No. At the time of writing the letter, Kutcher was chairman of the board of a charity, Thorn, which he had co-founded with Demi Moore in 2009, a nonprofit organization to help find trafficked children. Kunis was an observer on the organization's board. In an attempt to appease those angered of their support of Masterson, the actors released an apology video, which only led to further backlash. I remember that video clear as day. Crazy. And so just days after releasing the apology video, Ashton Kutcher came under fire again when a video clip of him in 2003 resurfaced, showing the actor making a problematic comment about Hilary Duff while she was underage. In the footage, in an episode of his show Punk'd, showing him talking about the then 15-year-old actress, she's going to be in a movie called Cheaper by the Dozen, and she's one of the girls that were all waiting to turn 18, along with the Olsen twins. She was 15, the Olsen twins were 17 years old, and Ashton Kutcher was 25. Then, shortly after this apology video, another video was unearthed where during a joint interview in 2002, Mila Kunis is doing an interview and she shares that when she was 14 years old, Danny Masterson and Ashton Kutcher made a bet to French kiss this girl. And they were not minors. And there was a point in time when I close my eyes, like if I think of Ashton Kutcher, he's with P. Diddy. Look up MTV VMAs Tattoo, T-A-T-U, Ashton Kutcher, P. Diddy. Just look that up. That is what I see in my mind. That's all. That's the end of the series. Demi Moore, Ashton Kutcher, done. And what have we learned here today? We have learned that sometimes divorcing your loser cheating husband is the best thing that could ever happen to you. Because when their scandals arise, it's their next wife that has to deal with that, not you.